Very good morning to one and all, and welcome to the next session on Java. So here in today's session, we are going to discuss about the exception handling in Java. So before that, we are going to look at what is an error and what is an exception, and how errors are handled in Java programming language, and what are the different reasons for causing exceptions and how the exceptions can be handled in Java programming language. Okay, so see here. we can say generally errors are of two types. Okay, so errors are of two types. The name of the first type of errors are called as compile time errors, and the name of the second type errors are called as runtime errors. So whenever we write a program, we generally compile the program and then we run the program. So the errors which will occur during the compile time of the program are called as compile time errors, and the errors which occur during the runtime of the program are called as runtime errors. Okay, so see here, the other name for these compile time errors are, we can call them as syntactical errors. Okay, we can call them as syntactical errors, and at the same time these runtime errors can be called as exceptions. So we can call these type of runtime exception errors are called as exceptions. Okay, so what is syntactical errors? For example, if you are writing just a statement called as a system.out.println, okay, you have to follow certain rules. So you have to use S capital while using system, because the system is a class, and then dot out and println in order to print something on the output screen in Java. And then we have to use this open braces and followed by closed braces, and then at the end we need to have a semicolon, and what the thing we want to print on the output screen should be represented within this double quotes. Okay, so this is the syntax. For example, I just missed one closing braces. For example, I missed this closing braces, then I'm going to get an error. If I miss this semicolon, then I'm going to get an error. Or if I miss some quotates, I'm going to get an error. If I use small s in place of capital S in system, I'm going to get an error. So these are the different possibilities of getting errors. So such type of errors are called as syntactical errors or compile time errors. Why we are calling them as syntactical errors? In the sense, these errors will occur whenever we violate the rules of programming. So in Java, if you want to write the system, that S should be capital. If you want to write the object out, okay, we have to use all the small letters. When we want to use this println statement, we need to use open braces, closed braces, double quotes, and the semicolon. So if we miss any of those things, that means we are violating the syntax of the programming. That's why we are getting an error. Okay, so the examples for this one are missing a semicolon, missing a double quotates, or capital letter in place of small letter, or small letter in place of capital letter, etc. Okay, so how can we overcome with such type of errors? We can overcome by making some necessary corrections in the program. By making some necessary corrections in the program, we can overcome such type of errors. For example, I am writing system.out.println, for example, system.out.println, and I have written something. So in between these two, I just missed the double quotates. That's why I got error. So I can go to the program and I can search where the error has been occurred, and then by making some necessary corrections in the syntax of the code, we can avoid these type of errors. Okay, so errors are of two types: compile time and runtime. And then Compile time can also be called as syntactical errors, and runtime are called as exceptions. So the examples for syntactical errors are missing a semicolon, capital letter in place of small letter, or small letter in place of capital letter, missing a double quotates, or missing the closed braces, etc. And by making some necessary corrections in the program, we can avoid such type of errors. And coming on to the second one, that is the runtime exceptions, where the other name runtime errors, where the other name is exceptions. Here, what we have, what are the examples of these runtime exceptions? For example, in the program, I have written C equal to A by B, and I am expecting the value of A as an input from the user. And at the same time, I'm expecting the value of B as an input from the user. So I have asked the user to enter two values, A and B. So if the user enters the two values, then I am going to divide those values and I am going to store the result in C. That is my program. So see here, if the user gives something called as A equal to 10 and B equal to 5, it is okay. It's not a problem. But what happens if user gives something called as 0 for the variable B? So we have to divide this 10 with 0. Is it possible? So we cannot divide any number with 0. So these type of errors are called as exceptions. Okay, these type of errors are called as exceptions. We cannot see here, we cannot stop the user not giving we cannot stop the user without giving 0. Okay, he or she can give any number for variable A and for variable B, because we have declared and we have asked the programmer to enter the numbers. So if it is not 0, it is okay. But if the user enters the B value as 0, then this particular statement will be executed as C equal to 10 by 0. So whenever the Java compiler observes that something divided by 0, this will lead to something called as infinite value. So here what will happen is an exception will be raised. An exception will be raised. We don't maintain any wrong syntax. We did nothing here. Just because of user entering the B value as 0, we are getting an error in the program. So when will the user enters the values? During the runtime of the program, the user is going to enter the values. Okay, and let us see one more example of exceptions. Okay, so now what we have seen, the name of the exception is called as divided by 0. Okay, now we have already seen one example, that is divided by 0 exception, and it comes under arithmetic exception. Okay, it comes under arithmetic exception. Okay, so I will show you all the exception hierarchy, don't worry. So before going to see that, just remind that one. If you divide with 0, then we are going to get an exception. For example, I have declared an array of something called as A of 5. So when I say A of 5, so this is an array which is going to store 5 elements. All the 5 elements will be kept with the indices. The first element will be kept at A of 0, and the second element will be kept at A of 1, and the third element will be kept at A of 2, and the fourth element will be kept at A of 3, and the last element will be kept at A of 4. So you are only allowed to access A of 0 to A of 4. Even though we have declared A of 5, the index will always be 0 to n minus 1. Okay, so at this particular point of time, if I try to assign something called as A of 6 equal to 30, where there is no index A of 6, or even if I assign A of 5 equal to 30, there is no index with A of 5. Okay, so at this point of time, we are going to get an error called as array index out of bounds exception. Array index out of bounds exception. So this is one more example. Okay, and then let us talk about strings. how we get an exception in strings. Okay, so see here. For example, I have a string, something called as A equal to CSC. This is my string. So if this is a string, okay, the first character will be stored at A of 0. So which means A of 0 will have C, A of 1 will have S, and A of 2 will have E. So if you try to access something called as A of 3 or something called as A of 4, or if you try to store some value in A of 3 or A of 4, then we are going to get an exception called as string index out of bounds exception. Okay, till now we have gone through 3 types of exceptions. The first one is divided by 0, which comes under arithmetic exception, and the second one is array index out of bounds exception, where that exception will occur whenever we try to access the index which are not there in the array. And then now we have gone through the string index out of bounds exception. Okay, I think now you are clear about what are the different types of exceptions. Okay, so see here. Now, so those are the different types of arithmetic exception. Okay, array index out of bound exception, array index out of bounds exception, and then string index out of bounds exception, etc. So how can we avoid such type of errors? When we are talking about syntactical errors, we can avoid such type of errors by making necessary corrections. But here, what we have to do in case of this runtime exceptions. For example, as we discussed earlier, when the value of C equal to A by B and the user provides the B value as 0, can you stop the user without providing 0 for B value? We cannot stop the user without providing 0 for the B value. It is up to him or it is up to her. Okay, so we have to do something here. Okay, we have to do something here in order to avoid the program sudden termination. So if B value is 0, so the program will terminate suddenly, and we don't know why the program has been terminated. Sometimes you can see while you are doing programming in C or C++ or in Java, when we are doing a program and when you compile or run the program, you don't know. Suddenly the program may stop and you just come to the home screen of your computer system. You don't have clarity. The same thing will also happen here. If an exception has been raised, okay, if an exception has been raised, then the program is going to be terminate suddenly. Now, what we have to do here, we have to come with a concept which will stop the sudden termination of the program, and we have to come to the concept which will explain what was really happened inside the program for the user. Okay, see the two things. First thing is that we have to bring one concept here. That concept will see the program not terminating suddenly. We have to come to the concept. That concept will explain the user that this is the actual problem. That's why you are getting an error. Okay, we need to stop the sudden termination and we need to explain the user. So the concept is called as exception handling mechanism. Exception handling mechanism. What this exception handling mechanism will do is that it is going to handle the exceptions. It does not care about this compile time. Okay, it does not care about these compile time errors. It is only going to look at the runtime errors, which are called as exceptions. So the exception handling mechanism, how it is done in C++. So till now, I think you have completed C, C++, Java, and Python. Okay, in C, there is no concept of exception handling. But in C++ and in Python, you have the concept of exception handling. So let us compare the C++ and Java here for exception handling mechanism. So in C++, we are going to use three keywords. Those three keywords are try, catch, and throw. Try, catch, and throw are the three keywords which are used to handle exceptions in C++ programming language. Coming to the Java programming language, there are 5 keywords to handle exceptions. Those 5 keywords are try, catch, okay, throw, try, catch, throw, and the fourth one is called as throws, and the fifth one is called as finally. So try, catch, throw, throws, and finally are the 5 keywords in Java programming language which are going to handle exceptions, right? So I think it is clear. Now let us come to the next point. See here. So let us see what is going to be happened actually inside the program when an exception has been raised. For example, as we discussed earlier, if there is a statement called as C equal to A by B, and we are expecting the values of A and B from the user, okay, in case if the B value has been given as 0, then we are going to get an exception at this particular line. Now, what will happen inside the Java virtual machine when the program is being executed? Now, JVM, see here, JVM is going to create an object. See here, JVM is going to create an object. దేనికి object ni create చేస్తుంది? For the respected exception class. For respected exception class. So what do you mean by respected exception class? So see here, when we write C equal to A by B and the value of B is 0, then here we are raising an exception which belongs to divide by 0. And this divide by 0 belongs to arithmetic exception. So when the B value is 0, Java virtual machine is going to create an object for the arithmetic exception. For example, this is the starting point and it is the ending point of the program. And if an arithmetic exception has been raised at this point, arithmetic exception means when an object has been raised by the JVM. When the object will be raised by the JVM, whenever there is an arithmetic exception, then JVM is going to create an object for arithmetic exception class. See here, all the exceptions are classes. Remember, arithmetic exception, array index out of bound exception, interpreted exception, string index out of bounds exception. All the exceptions are classes. Whenever an exception, whenever there occurs a runtime error, okay, then JVM is going to create an object for the respected exception class. When we try to access the array index which is not there, then JVM is going to create an object for array index out of bounds class. When we try to access the string which is string index which was not there, then the JVM is going to create an object for string index out of bounds exception class. And when we interpret a program, what do you mean by interpretation? We have already completed the thread programs. In the thread programs, we interpreted. How we interpreted? By using the sleep method, by using the join method, by using the suspend method. We just interpreted the execution of that particular program. So whenever we interpret the execution, JVM is going to create an object for interpreted exception class. Now, what this object will do, for example, it is the object that was created by JVM. Okay, it is the object that was created by JVM. Now, what this object will do is that this object will travel entire program. This object is going to travel entire program. And this object will search for, is there any handling procedure for me? Is there any handling procedure for me? So if there is any handling procedure, then the exception is going to be handled Okay, then exception is going to be handled by that handler. In case if there is no, okay, if there is no such handling mechanism in your program and the object is traveling entire program, when the object do not find any handling mechanism, then again the same object is going to reach the JVM. If the same object reaches to the JVM, already JVM has created that object has traveled the entire program and it don't find any handling mechanism, and again that object has reached the JVM. So if it reaches the JVM, then what the reply from the JVM is that it is going to terminate the program. It is going to terminate the program. And the user don't know why the program has been terminated and what is the reason and where the error that has been occurred and what is the reason for the termination of the program. The user don't know nothing. The user knows nothing. Simply JVM is going to terminate. Why JVM is terminating? JVM has already created an object for an exception class because of that exception in the program, and that object has traveled entire program, and that object don't find any handling procedure inside the program. Because the object is unable to find the handling procedure, it again reached to the JVM where it was created. And now the JVM will simply terminate the program. Now, what we have to do in order to stop this sudden termination? Okay, what we have to do in order to stop this sudden termination? Okay, please be clear with the concept. Okay, for example, it is the starting point of the program, it is the ending point of the program. At this particular point of line, we got an exception. Whenever we got an exception, okay, JVM, okay, JVM will create an object for that respected exception class. If we are getting interpreted exception, JVM is going to create an object for interpreted exception class. We are getting arithmetic exception, JVM is going to create an object for arithmetic exception class. If we are getting string index out of bounds exception, JVM is going to create an object for string index out of bounds exception. So the type of object or the object which was created for the different classes will depends upon the type of exception that was raised at this particular line. Okay, now what this object will do? This object is going to travel entire program, and if there is no certain handling mechanism, this object is going to reach the JVM again where it was created. In such case, the program is going to be terminated. So what to do if we want to avoid the termination of the program? So if we want to avoid the termination of the program, okay, when the object is traveling throughout the program, okay, if we are able to handle that object, then it will not reach JVM. Okay, if we are able to handle that object will not reach JVM. So if it not reaches JVM, it will not terminate the program. So we have to handle. So what is handling? In the sense, we have to use try keyword or catch keyword, throws, and finally. And there is some procedure. Okay, there is some procedure of handling. I think till now you are clear. So before going to see the procedure, so let us see something called as runtime errors can also be divided into two types. See here, runtime errors can also be divided into two types. See this one, and later we can move to the handling mechanism. Runtime errors are two types: simple and serious. Okay, simple and serious. What do you mean by simple and what do you mean by serious? For example, serious runtime errors. Serious runtime errors in the sense, let us consider an example. In a class, I have written a space obj equal to new a. So whenever the JVM or the Java compiler encounters this new keyword, it is going to create some space in main memory. So it is going to create some space in main memory. So see here, for example, my main memory is of 1 GB, where all the 1 GB is full. But in the program, I have written a space obj equal to new a. Now what will happen? So this new keyword is going to create some memory, but the memory was already full. Such type of errors are called as serious runtime errors or serious logical errors. So when the new keyword used, it is going to create the memory. When the memory is full, it cannot, this statement cannot reserve some space in RAM. So these type of errors are called as serious runtime errors. So our exception handling mechanism cannot handle this serious logical errors. See here, our exception handling mechanism cannot handle the serious logical errors. Let us see simple. Simple in the sense, so under simple, okay, under simple, there are many exceptions. Okay, under simple, there are many exceptions. And under that one, there is one type of exception class called as a runtime exception class. Runtime exception class. So under simple exceptions, there are different exception classes called as no such class exception, no such class, okay, no such method exception. For example, if we try to create an object for a class which was not there in the program, then it is going to create an runtime error called as a no such class exception. Or at the same time, if you are trying to access a method which was not there in the program, then it is going to raise no such method exception. Along with that, along with all these types, there is one exception class called as a runtime exception class. Under runtime exception class, there are many classes such as arithmetic exception, array index out of bound exception, interpreted exception, string index out of bounds exception, etc. Okay, now our exception handling mechanism cannot handle all these exceptions. Only it is going to handle the runtime exceptions and the subclasses of runtime exception class. See here, all these are classes. All these are classes. So here it is not going to handle serious logical errors because our exception handling mechanism cannot make some memory in RAM suddenly. It cannot be done. And it cannot handle all the simple logical errors. So simple logical errors have multiple number of times. Among those, there is one type called as runtime exception. And our exception handling mechanism is only used to handle the runtime exception and the subclasses of runtime exception. It cannot handle serious. It cannot handle all the remaining simple exceptions. So let us see what are the different names under runtime exceptions in the web. Let us see this one. I want to show exception hierarchy. With this, I am going to close today's session, and in tomorrow's session, we are going to look at all the 5 keywords. Okay, see this one. Okay, no problem. It was not. Okay, let us see one more, another one. Okay, I think it is visible. So see here. So there are two things. Here, see the exceptions. So under exceptions, the classes are called as runtime exception class, IO exception, SQL exception, broken barrier exception, etc. Under all these things, okay, so our exception handling mechanism is going to handle these things, the runtime exception and the subclasses of runtime exception. If you have more names, it will be clear, I think. Okay, see this one. See here. So, and at the same time, all the subclasses of runtime exception class comes under unchecked exceptions. Okay, and apart from this one, there are many more exception classes under simple exceptions. Those are called as checked exceptions. Okay, so remember this one. Remember this one. So it will be clear, I think. Okay, so there are. So here the exception class is having multiple number of subclasses: IO, class not found, SQL, runtime, etc. Among these, okay, runtime exception is also having some subclasses. Okay, some subclasses. Among these, so these are called as checked exceptions, and these are called as unchecked exceptions. Unchecked. So all the subclasses of runtime exception class are called as unchecked exceptions, and the remaining subclasses under exception class are called as checked exceptions. Okay, so please be clear with that, and we will meet you in the next session with some sort of examples and the procedure of using try, catch, throw, throws, and finally in Java. And thank you very much for being here. We will meet you in the next session.